Patellar Femoral Syndrome. It's not a nice experience because it can cause a lot of discomfort and pain in and around your knee joint. It's where the patella, which naturally tracks in a linear fashion as your leg moves up and down, as you walk, as you jog, and as you jump. Now, when you injure this area, whether that be an impact injury or a non-impact injury, what it can cause the patella to do is move slightly off center, whether that be to the outside or the inside of your leg. More often than not, it's to the outside, and that's because of the muscles here on the outside of your thigh, which I'll get to a little bit further on in the video. If you've ever seen the posterior side of the patella, it's absolutely beautiful. It's very smooth, like a cue ball. But the thing is, when it comes off center, it can cause a lot of friction on the posterior side of your patella, which over time can lead to inflammation, which in the long term could lead to arthritis. So it's very important that you treat it. Now, within this video, I want to show you some stretches, some foam rolling exercises, some activation exercises, and strength exercises, all with the aim of helping to accelerate your recovery. My name is Essen. I'm a certified personal trainer, corrective exercise specialist, UKSCA strength and conditioning coach, and I have a BSc in sport and exercise science with first class honours. My aim is to use all of this experience to help you physically and mentally show yourself you can achieve your goals. In terms of structure within this area, we're looking at four main areas. You have a tendon that will originate on your thigh bone, your femur, and then it will travel down and insert into your tibia. Now, your patella actually floats, sits within your tendon, so that when you move your leg up and down, it will just move up and down in that tendon. The first stretch is going to be for your quadriceps at the front of your thigh. Start with your body upright, feet hip width apart. From a side angle, grab your ankle, keep your legs in line, slightly bend your support leg. I'll show you from this side. So you slightly bend your support leg. You're aiming to try and get your heel towards your bum. Keep your chest up, tense your abs, keep good posture. In terms of a duration, try and hold that stretch for 60 seconds or more. That will be termed as what's called a developmental stretch, where we're trying, as the word says, to develop your range. You can also take so I'm going to stretch the same leg. I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to cross this way. Now, what this does, it helps to get more of a stretch coming on the lateral side of your knee. And as I mentioned before, more often than not, the knee will track to the outside. Now we're going to move on to the second stretch for the same area. Only this time, what I want you to do is I want you to squeeze your glute, tense it as much as you can. As soon as you do that, you're going to feel a stretch come up towards your hip. Then I want you to thrust your hips forward a bit to increase that stretch a little bit more. Now what we're doing here is that where you have your four muscles that form your quad, all four of them will insert on your tibia. Three of them originate on the femur, and there's one of them that goes and originates on your hip, on your pelvis. Hence the reason why that second stretch that we've just done is to focus on the single quad muscle that goes over your hip, which is called your rectus femoris. This next stretch is to release a thick band of fascia which runs down the outside of your thigh. It's called your iliotibial band. It originates in your hip, it comes all the way down, and it inserts into your tibia. Now the thing about this fascia is that its natural function is that it helps to extend the leg. It also helps to abduct the leg, so take the leg out to the side. It also helps to externally rotate the leg, and it also contributes in creating lateral stability for your patella. Now, there's a lot of lateral that I was talking about that the function of this area has. which means that it will have a tendency to take things out to the outside. Hence the reason why the tracking of your knee a lot of times can move to the outside laterally. So stretching this area becomes very important. Simple way to do it is if you put your right leg across your left, and I'm going to push my left hip out to the left side so that my torso drops down to the right. Now as I'm doing this, I want you to tense your right quad. Sorry, tense your left quad as much as you can. The more you tense your quad, the more you'll feel a stretch come on the outside of that iliotibial band. We hold this position for 60 seconds or more, 3 times each side. Using the foam roller is an excellent way to release what's called your fascia, which is a tissue which covers every muscle in your body. So we'll focus on your quads here. We're going to work bilaterally first, and then we'll switch to a unilateral movement. So we start central to the roller, squeeze your bum, tense your abs so you've got good posture. Then the aim is to move throughout the full range of your thighs, so just above your knees to just below your hip. And you work that through, perform, generally speaking, 10 rolls, but of course do more or less as you see fit. Now you can turn your feet externally, rotate your feet so that you feel more of the tension going into the inside of the thighs. And then also you can bring your feet, as in try and bring your toes together so you can feel it going a little bit more to the outside. Now I want to switch it to unilateral, which will just mean that I'm going to place only my right leg on the roller, and then I'm going to lift the left leg up. So now you've got the pressure, more pressure going down onto your right leg or onto the leg that's on the roller. So you're going to get a lot more of a release taking place. Feels good. And then you do the same on the other side. Now I mentioned 10 rolls, but by all means do more. Ultimately it's about how do you feel. If you feel you need a lot more release, then spend a lot more time doing it. You'll be guided by how best it works for you. So now we're going to work on the iliotibial band. So place the foam roller mid part of your thigh. So we're on a side angle now, so we can trigger that area. Pull your toe up so you can maintain good posture. Tense your abs. And then you're looking to roll where it's just above the knee to just below the hip. And make sure you keep good posture. Don't just allow your hip to drop down. Keep your body in good alignment as you go through each roll. In terms of encouraging, realigning the natural tracking of your patella, this next exercise I'm going to take you through is a very good way of doing it. You want to keep your body upright, hands by your side, pull your toes up, because that will just help to create a stiff ankle, which will ensure that we've got good alignment going through your ankle, knee, and hip joint. Tense your quads, reinforce that contraction. So already the patella is being supported even before we start to move. We're switching it on so it's prepared for the work rate. And then I want you to drive your heel into the ground and end in the top position where your foot is flat. And then extend the leg out again. Now it's very important when you're doing this that you're mindful that your knee is remaining in alignment with your ankle in your hip. And what I mean by that, if we don't focus on that taking place, the knee can very easily end up, when you're pulling your leg up, the knees move laterally. So effectively what you have is your ankle joint here, your hip joint is here, but your knee joint is slightly off center. So we want to make sure, in terms of maximize and linear tracking, that the knee stays in alignment. So we've got the ankle, knee, and hip joint where we want them to encourage perfect tracking. Keeping the chest up at all times, driving the heel into the ground, getting the foot flat, and also activating, tensing those quads on the way out. Don't just pull it up and down like that, because you're not really activating the muscles. You want to be slow and methodical with these movements so that you can feel that in terms of neuromuscular facilitation, you're switching on, you're sending the right motor units to trigger the right muscles so that you execute the right movement in the right way. You can get yourself a resistance band, and we're performing the same movement, but it's now a little bit more challenging. So as you extend this time, lift the foot slightly off the ground. So now we'll put more work into your quads to make them strengthen and stabilize your patella. Here I'm going to take you through a 4-series hip activation sequence. We'll work through hip flexion, hip extension, hip adduction, and hip abduction. I will go through this just using my right leg, but when you do it, you would do it on both sides. So hip flexion, first and foremost, pull the toes up. So we've got good alignment from the ankle, knee, and hip joint. Keep good posture, chest up, tense your abs. Now I'm going to lift the right leg. It's not going to move very high, and it doesn't need to be able to activate the muscles we're looking to work. Hip extension. I want you to pull your toes up on that right foot and lift your knee up so your leg is completely straight. In this position, you want to be tensing your glute on the right side as much as possible. And then we lift, squeeze the glute at the top position, keep your toes up, don't point your toes away like so. Pull the toes towards you at all times so we have that stiff ankle and we keep that alignment from the ankle, knee and hip joint. Control it down, exhale on the way up. Make sure you squeeze the glute and tense the quads as much as possible with each repetition that you do. Here we're going to work on hip abduction. Make sure your legs are completely straight and pull your toes up again so we have that stiff ankle. And then you're going to raise the top leg and control it back down. Try not to raise the leg too high, only because you'll start working other muscles that we don't really need to be working at this point. By the time you get around this position, you will feel the IT band and all your abductor muscles, your glute medius, your glute minimus, those muscles will be switched on. You'll feel it, and that will be a marker to bring the foot back down. Always keeping the quads tensed throughout the movement. Everything's under control. Hip adduction. So I'm going to place my top leg, the left leg, in front. And that's going to act as a base of support for me to work my right leg. Now in terms of the right leg, keep it completely straight. Pull your toes up, and then you're going to lift and control it back down. Again, the movement is not very high, neither does it need to be. You will feel right in that position, you switch on all of your adductor muscles, and that VMO muscle I was speaking about before will be fully activated, and then control the leg back down. Exhale on the way up, and control on the way down. Always be mindful to have your abs locked in throughout every movement that you do, so that you've got good core stability. In terms of reps and sets and recovery, start 3 times 8, take a 60 to 90 second recovery, then move on to 3 times 12, same recovery, and then 3 times 15, where you work between 30 to 45-second recovery. In terms of a strength exercise, we're going to perform squats. I would like you to start with your feet hip width apart. Reason being is you want to make sure that we have a straight line from your ankle, knee, and hip joint, ensuring that we restore the right alignment for your patellar tracking. The focal point here is not trying to get a full range squat. It's just trying to produce the right sort of movement that is going to activate your quads, activate those muscles that we know are going to help to strengthen and stabilize your knee. So we start in this position. I want you to contract your quads as much as possible, squeeze your glutes, and drive your feet down into the ground, even your toes. Let them have good contact with the ground. Even in this start position, we're switching on the muscles, preparing the patella to do what we want it to do. Tense your abs, keep your chest up, and have a flat back. And then you go into hip hinge. Hips will go back, and we go down slowly. See, I'm driving, I'm tensing the quads, driving my feet into the ground. I'll get to where my threshold position is with good posture, and then I'll slowly drive up, driving my feet into the ground, and come back to the top position. Again, making sure that my knees are not falling in, creating a valgus maneuver. We don't want that. We want the knees to be tracking in line, and we drive up. Again, I'm locking in the glutes to start, tensing the quads, chest is up, abs are tight, hip hinge, good posture all the time. Notice I don't want to be rounding my back like this. If you find yourself in this position, do 2 things. Push your bum back, get your chest up, and also always make sure your abs are tight. So I'll come down to my threshold, which is here for me. It might be lower or slightly higher for you. It's all good. Once you find it, drive up under control to the top position. Now when you're here, drive the feet into the ground. Tense your quads as much as you can. Keep your abs tight. And then we drive into the ground as we come up to the top position. In terms of reps and sets, start aiming for 3 sets of 8. Once you can do that, take that up to 3 sets of 12 and then 3 sets of 15. Once you can cover all of those reps and set ranges, then you can get yourself a resistance band just to increase the level of intensity of the work you're doing. So we assume the same start position, tensing the quads, tensing the glutes, tensing your abs, good posture, driving your feet into the ground, including your toes, and we control the movement down. The resistance band will let you know if you're putting too much pressure on the outside or if your knees are falling in, because if they are, the resistance band will start to loosen. And the same way as if your legs are going out, moving out laterally, then you feel you're putting too much tension into the resistance band. So wherever you start, that's your guiding light. So as you go down, you should feel that same level of resistance, and we come up to that top position. Again, in terms of reps and sets, once you move on to the resistance band, we're looking at 3 times 8. Once you can do that, 3 times 12 and then 3 times 15. In terms of recovery times for those sets and reps, when you're doing 3 times 8, take around 60 to 90 recovery. Same when you're doing 3 times 12. When you get to 3 times 15, take a recovery in between 30 to 45 seconds. Here I'm going to perform leg extensions. This is an excellent exercise to help strengthen the quadriceps that will help improve the strength and stability in and around your patella. I'm going to use a Pilates ball for this. Now you start with the Pilates ball in between your legs and you want to squeeze it. Now doing that will immediately activate all the muscles inside your thigh. All the adductor muscles, that being your adductor longus, magnus, your sartorius muscle, your gracilis muscle, and of the 4 quadriceps, it will place particular emphasis onto what's called your VMO, your vastus medialis oblique. That's a muscle in the inside of your thigh. And it's also a muscle that if you've got a lot of tightness, because patellar tracking is maybe moved to the outside of your knee, the iliotibial band will get tight, but as a result of that, your VMO and all the other adductor muscles can become weak or atrophic. So this exercise will help to strengthen them. Always keep good posture, chest up, abs tight. Extend the leg, contracting the quads maximally at the top, and slowly control it back down again. And you go with the other leg. Slowly come back down again. It's very important that you don't just think about moving the leg, you also think about keeping good posture. Tense the quads at the top, pull the toes up. And you can also work this bilaterally, both legs at the same time. And take your time with this because we want to reinforce those contractions that are going through your quads that will help to strengthen and stabilize your patella. These are not about speed at this stage to help you accelerate your recovery. A way that we can maximize switching on more of your VMO is we assume the same start position, posture is the same, only this time when your leg comes up, I want you to internally rotate your foot. It won't be much, but it will be enough for you to feel the increase of activation going through your VMO and all the other muscles along the adductor complex. Internally rotate and slowly bring it back down. Try 3 times 8 each leg if you're doing unilateral, and the same if you're doing them bilateral. Once you can do that, build it up, 3 times 12, and then get up to 3 times 15. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please subscribe and please comment and like, because it would be great to hear what your views are, if there's any other things, if there's any other programs or exercises that you want me to do, leave a comment and I will get on to putting our content together and bringing it to market. As I said, please subscribe and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thank you for your time.